us have our revenge.
Is this what our future holds? Always running.
Together, we can destroy the Empire. The Emperor wants you dead.
Maul.
This is Rebel Force Radio's Maul, Shadow Lord, After Show.
Well, I don't think since we saw that black cloaked figure step out of the X-Wing in Mando Season 2, at the end of Mando Season 2, have I been this excited, this much on the edge of my seat during anything Star Wars. It's going to sound a lot this week like I'm shilling, but I have no complaints. I have no complaints. There's so much to talk about for 2 episodes that was pretty light on plot points. Tons of payoff in these 2 episodes, obviously, and huge ramifications for the series going ahead. I mean, this in a lot of ways is a reboot of the series going into next season. What is there going to still be Janix? What about the Lawsons? What about the Shadow Collective? All this is pretty much gone. I mean, there is one Lawson left, but we're going to talk about whether or not he'll even make it to season 2. So much, of course, and you don't know how hard it was for me to not put Vader on that thumbnail this week. I really wanted to, but I know that, it can be spoiler for some people that aren't watching or listening to the after show right away. So we did our best to avoid doing something like that. Once bitten, twice shy. Been there, done that. But the temptation to just go all out with some of the beautiful imagery that was in these 2 episodes. This is a high mark, I would say, certainly for Star Wars animation. Blows the doors off of everything. Maybe the best Star Wars animation ever. And I think the best Star Wars storytelling we've had probably since Mando Season 2. So, but what do you think? We're going to be taking your phone calls and breaking both of these episodes all the way down. And by we, if you're new to the program and joining us for the first time, and introductions may be in order, my name is Jason. You are listening to the Rebel Force Radio Maul Shadow Lord After Show. And with me, as always, my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Hey, Maul Rats. We're back for one final run with Maul. Boy, you figured they would do something better than just a filler episode for the season finale, but what are we going to do? Oh, by the way, remember when we were, of course, I'm speaking tongue in cheek, but remember when we were reviewing the episode titles when they were first announced pre-season?
Yes.
And the final episode, chapter 10, was called Simply Finale. And we told you guys right away that wasn't going to be the title of that episode. We knew it wasn't going to be because we had early info that there was going to be a season 2. I believe we were reporting that before anyone else. And when we saw that title for the final episode, and it was just Simply Finale, after all the other episodes had such vivid and descriptive names like The Creeping Fear and things of that nature. It's like, what? Did they only pay the guy who titles the episodes for 9 episodes and he didn't title the last one and they simply just called it Finale? No, we knew it was called Simply Finale because something big was going to happen in that final episode. We were speculating from day one because the release date was May the 4th, be with you. We knew that they had to have something really big planned for the finale. It wasn't going to go out. This season of Maul Shadow Lord, season 1, wasn't going to go out with a whimper a la Bad Batch, which really did go out with a whimper. This thing was building up to something big. They wanted it to be event television for May the 4th, and that's exactly what it was. And it was amazing. But even though we were predicting it and stuff, it was still very exciting when it went down, when Rook Cast disappeared into the fog, and all you heard was that heavy, familiar breathing, that mechanical breathing. You knew that we were in for something special. Was it everything that I hoped it would be? Yes and no. And no. But the no part is really, we'll get there when we get there. But for the most part, I thought this was incredible and exactly what I wanted to see in the season finale of Maul Shadow Lord.
Yeah, I could not think of a better way to spend May the 4th than with these 2 episodes. And I'll be honest, right before I hit play on them, Jim, I thought, gosh, it's May the 4th. Had kind of a, not the greatest day at the day-to-day job. And I thought, man, maybe I should fire up one of the films or something and really just celebrate May the 4th, get into the spirit. Well, but I got to watch Maul. Got to prep for the after show. And I mean, to tell you, I'm not kidding. I mean, on the edge of my couch. It was so intense for me, and not in every way, action, adventure, the storyline, emotionally, all of that stuff. It just fired on all cylinders. Like I said, I have no complaints really, but let's get into the tail of the tape here real quick. And if you're keeping score on these things at home, we are talking about both episodes tonight. Episodes 9 and 10, both airing, of course, on May 4th, 2026. For those of you listening in the future, released to Disney+, of course. Chapter 9, Strange Allies, written by Christopher Yost, directed by Stuart Lee, and coming in at about 22 minutes. Followed by, as Max said, The Dark Lord. Finally got that title reveal. Written by Matt Miknovitz, the showrunner, who will also be appearing later this month at the Forest Moon Festival. And Brad Rouse. They share writing credits on that. Directed by Nate Villanueva, obviously a veteran director of Star Wars animation. A little bit longer, about 23 minutes. And as I said, I think that these 2 episodes really felt probably more than any 2 as like one. It's hard for me to think what happened in episode 9, what happened in episode 10. It doesn't really matter because I love this approach to Star Wars animation and releasing these 2 at a time. I think this show definitely was better because of it. But Jim, these episodes are really about death, about sacrifice, about loss. There's a ton of loss. And let's start with, I thought the biggest surprise of the episode, and that was the loss of the lawman himself, Brander Lawson. This was something I was absolutely not expecting to happen. One of my clues that had me thinking that this guy was going to survive this was because he's the only character that witnesses Maul's betrayal of Master Daki and pushing Daki into Darth Vader. So I'm thinking to myself, well, he's got to survive because that truth could change things for Devin. And much to my surprise, I mean, he went out in a blaze of glory. It gave me shades of Baze Malbus in Rogue One. So he deliberately draws the Imperial fire to allow Riley and the whole group to escape Janix. He knows what he's doing. There's no hesitation here. There's no monologue, just a few words between father and son. And despite, Jim, all of the death that we see in this episode, a number of characters, and including a droid, this is probably the only what I would consider most unambiguously heroic death in these 2 episodes. I think Brander Lawson is probably the only real hero of these 2 episodes.
Well, you know, it's a father fighting for his son. and his son's survival. And that raises the stakes even higher. And his last words to Two Boots were, promise me you'll get Riley to his mother. And his mother, of course, is an Imperial, so they are going to have to.
There's a little snag.
It's going to be kind of awkward. Yeah, there is a little snag there. And maybe the Empire might be hunting the survivors of this Janix uprising, or not uprising, just incident. And maybe they'll be wanted. Maybe Riley will be wanted by the Imperials. Maybe they'll use Riley's mother to smoke out Riley, and hopefully then also get Devin and Maul in the process. That's what they might do. Or maybe they'll use Riley as a way to get to Maul and eventually smoke out Maul if they think Maul cares about Riley. I personally don't. But we don't know how their relationship is going to advance in future seasons. So I thought, and I think it will. I don't think Riley is going to sit on the sidelines. Something tells me this is kind of an emerging character here. And
well, I thought the same thing about his dad.
About
too.
Brander Lawson.
Yeah.
Well, the odd thing about Lawson is that this entire season has been told largely from his perspective.
Right.
And so that's why I think his death is going to set up something bigger with Riley.
Yeah.
I really do. Poor Two Boots.
Yeah.
Boy, Two Boots saved everyone. It was his idea to steal that cannon from the Imperials and use it on their ships, on their gunships in that Imperial shuttle. And that idea paid off big time. But they still got pinned down, thus necessitating the sacrifice of Brander Lawson so they could escape. And he did a fine job.
Yeah, just the way that they did it, him with the Gatling gun, and then when he loses the Gatling gun, it jams on him. Then he just takes out the pistol, and finally he just collapses in that cloud of smoke and blaster bolt fire and everything. And I can't help but think, though, Jim, that narratively, his death is being used by the writers here to juxtapose what he does for the good of the group versus what Maul does for the good of the group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by what specifically? I thought you were going to start talking about Maul pushing Daki into the fight with Vader, thus leading to Daki's death, which was a very selfish move.
Very selfish. But I mean, so you've got the two characters here. Lawson is, like you said, a father. He also kind of has that fatherly or uncle kind of heroic relationship with. Maybe you could make a case about with Devin. He's trusted by Daki at a very deep level after their exchange about he never believed that the Jedi were a threat to the galaxy. But I think it's like Brander's death exists to show us the kind of heroicism that Maul can never achieve.
From a certain point of view. Right? I mean, am I right? I think Maul believes he's doing all the right things, and I mean Lawson obviously, yes, it was very, very selfless for him to do what he did. And you asked the question earlier in the show, will we ever see Janix again? I say absolutely not. I think the death of Brander Lawson absolutely indicates to us that we will never return to Janix again. There's nothing there for any of the characters. Riley, unless he wants to get back to his lacrosse team, there's nothing for him to return to.
Well, he's got a game the next morning, so who knows?
Bad news. I don't think he's going. As a matter of fact, I'm sure the game got shut down once all of these activities happened. I bet the whole planet got shut down, at least the whole city. And
there's not.
If
you listen to Oh yeah, in fact, it was actually getting there, Jim. Before these events, you were consistently hearing through, at least if you had the subtitles, that you could read the PA announcements that were going on across Janix. It was, we'd actually followed some of this throughout the season, where the warnings kept getting worse and worse, and to the point where there was, in this episode, any activity by human beings or by people or by whatever was, at risk of death. I mean, they were just coming right out. You couldn't, everybody was shuttered inside. There was absolutely no activity allowed. So those weren't just evening curfews anymore. It was all day, every day, based on, again,
total lockdown.
Yeah.
Lockdown figures. Right when Burger King launches their Mandalorian and Grogu kids meals, you can't get to Burger King.
Tough day for the folks at Jan. What did they do on May the 4th?
What did they do?
They couldn't go to Burger King. Well, let's talk a little bit about Riley. Riley, he loses, I think, in some ways more than a father. He loses a moral anchor. It's the only non-Force user moral authority in the show. He has nobody left that's not warped to some degree. I mean, even Two Boots is a droid. He's not going to be necessarily warm. He's completely isolated. This idea that he could just be returned to his mother, I thought about that. But here's a guy, he aided the Jedi, he aided Maul, he fled an active Imperial lockdown, he's a fugitive. So he really has two paths. One is to stay with Maul and become an underworld figure.
Yeah.
Or the other is that Two Boots will make good on his promise and get him go deep into Imperial controlled space and get him back to his mother. We all thought that his mother was going to show up there on Janix. She isn't. She didn't. So, I just don't see a scenario where she wouldn't be held liable for aiding and abetting. Even if he went on the lam and went, undercover, like, this is it. I think he became orphaned. He can't go back to his mother here. But that all depends. I don't think he can. That depends on whether or not maybe we get a big jump between seasons 1 and 2. That's going through my mind, where Riley and Two Boots just might be dealt with off screen and they've got bigger fish to fry. But if you had to guess between scenario 1, that he stays with Maul, becomes maybe a figure in the underworld, protection through obscurity, and we could also see kind of a moral fall that echoes Devin's, or are we going to spend time in the future with Two Boots getting him back to his mother, and maybe even Maul assisting that to appear that he's paying homage to Lawson and Lawson's sacrifice, but actually to get Devin alone. He's got to get Devin alone. I think that Riley could represent a threat to Maul's hold on Devin.
Ooh. Well, I don't think that Riley is going to become a figure in the criminal underworld. And if he did, I believe that he would become a criminal due to some sort of collaboration with Dario, not Voss. Because Dario has all the connections, and he could probably find
Vario.
Did I say Dario? Sometimes
Dario.
I do that. Vario.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been doing that since episode number 1, calling him Dario for some reason, which is weird. But I could see him working for Vario, but I don't think that's going to happen. I do think Two Boots is going to take that order very seriously, and he is going to do everything he can to reunite his Riley with his mother. Now, here's the thing. I believe that everybody is thinking that Riley's mom, who I think her name is Dina or Deanna,
Something like that.
Everyone thinks that because she's an Imperial, she is going to stay loyal to the Empire. I feel differently about that. I believe when she realizes the Empire is hunting her son, she might go on the lam and actually end up as part of the crew here, with Two Boots, with Riley, with Vario, with everyone. That is, and then the other thing is why would Maul keep these people around to begin with? So I believe that Two Boots is going to split with Riley. The only thing that would keep Riley around is if he really does develop some serious connection to Devin.
Right.
And, a guy will do a lot for a girl. And
even become a criminal?
Yes, even become a criminal who answers to a dark side lord.
Well, let me ask you this.
Here's
a third way. And I just thought of this when you were talking about somebody just posted the name in the chat. Drea. Drea Lawson. Okay, here's a third way. What if Two Boots does make good and does take Riley back to Drea, and he's now in close proximity to what Drea knows? She's an Imperial. Could he act as some sort of source or some sort of helper who has ears on the inside as to what's going on in the Empire? Maybe he could monitor communications and I don't know. Or is he relevant at all in the future of this show?
Right. You're right about that. But you want Lawson's sacrifice to mean something. And I think, to me, as an audience member, I want it to mean more than just Riley survived and you didn't. I want it to mean that he sacrificed himself for Riley to go on and do something great with his life.
Yes.
And I want to see that happen. And if that means shooting a few stormtroopers or what, and by the way, did they have to have Riley shooting nothing but stun blasts? How very Disney of you, Star
really,
Wars.
What do you think? It's because he's a teenager? Is that why?
That's the only reason. There is no reason for that. He should have been delivering death blows. Their lives were depending on it. Instead, he's just stunning stormtroopers because Disney doesn't think a teenager should be shooting stormtroopers. Oh, maybe they never heard of Luke Skywalker or Leia Organa, who were teenagers in those original films. So I don't know if
good call.
If that's what it's all about. But
it wasn't until you called it out that I was thinking, because he's a kid, they can't have that.
Yeah, right.
Although Devin's a kid and she's mowing down stormtroopers, and they're
exactly.
So
yeah, it's just kind of wussification of Star Wars that Disney likes to do from time to time.
All right,
and I'm calling them out for it. I'm sorry, but I am. And if anybody could tell me what and why in the plot required Riley to be shooting those goofy donut-sized shaped stun blasts, which I really hate. I mean, I just hate them. Yeah. It doesn't even make a cool sound effect when you shoot the blasters.
And how long do they stay out? Like, how is it really helping? When you're in a battle,
how long
like that?
do they stay out? Good job, kid. You just put a bunch of troopers gave them a nap.
Yeah, now you just pissed them off a little bit.
Yeah, when they wake up, they're going to be doubly angry and aggressive.
Okay, I try. I love you guys in the chat. I love you to death, but I try not to watch it so much because I got to press in a lot of buttons, and I'm trying to move this thing along. But Jim, I see some stuff going on in the chat. And I think there are people out there that think that this whole Lawson death is a fake out, that Brander Lawson isn't actually dead.
Yeah.
And some of them are even ending their comments with ha ha and LOL. So is the joke on us as we're talking about Lawson being really and truly and undeniably dead? I'll be honest, until I saw this in the chat, never even occurred to me that this was a fake out. It's possible.
Yeah, same here. I would be extremely upset if, and that would be more wussification of Star Wars as long as we're keeping track, because that was a very honorable way for him to go out. It's a character that was going nowhere. Let's face it. The character was going nowhere. He wasn't the focal point. He was only to provide us his perspective of Darth Maul wreaking havoc on the planet Janix within that city.
Yeah.
Once they leave there, like I said, they're not going back. There's nothing there for any of the characters. And Lawson serves no purpose to the story anymore. What purpose does he serve? Now Maul is hooked up with the gangsters, with the Crimson Dawn, which we all expected would happen because of that cameo appearance of Ray Park in the Solo movie.
Right.
So we all knew that that's where he was going. How does Brander Lawson fit into all that?
Yeah.
Brander Lawson can't go back to his career as a cop. He can't continue to live on Janix now that it's under Imperial occupation. The excuse Disney doesn't know how to kill people doesn't fly with me here.
No. Ever seen the sequel trilogy? They kill everybody in the sequel.
Yeah.
You ever seen Bambi?
Yeah, right. Or Finding Nemo. Hello. Disney doesn't know how to kill people. Well, they know how to kill deer and fish. But and Star Wars veterans from the original trilogy, they know how to kill them real well. But yeah, that just doesn't fly. I think there's some real specific storytelling going on here. I don't think there's any sort of fake out going on. He got blasted several times. We saw that, not with stun bolts, but with actual laser blasts. Yeah. And then that ship exploded, didn't it? Wasn't he just like right there? I'm mixing up? I might be mixing up a few scenes here.
Yeah, no, there was no explosion at the end. He just goes out in that cloud. You see him collapse and go down.
So what's the purpose then if he survives? The Imperials, they take him captive. They would kill him right on the spot if he still survived. If he got up, they would blast him to bits. Unless they believe that he's somebody who can help them smoke out Darth Maul.
Right.
So
because there is one guy, there is one character still on Janix that's very interested in finding Maul. And we're talking about Vader, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, so, and the Inquisitors.
And the Inquisitors. But I mean, remember, Vader in episode 4. And bring me those passengers. I want them alive. So he believes in keeping people alive if they can lead him to something and are some use to him.
The only way they would want to keep Lawson around is to drill him for information and to use him to smoke out Maul.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only purpose I can see for that. I think it would be extremely disappointing. It would be more disappointing than when Chewbacca survived that exploding ship in Rise of Skywalker.
I don't know what was more disappointing. Fearing that Chewie died or then realizing that it was a fake out and he didn't die. I was disappointed with both.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is a fake out.
No, I don't think so either, because there's another thread here that could serve a similar purpose, and that's Drea Lawson. You can't convince me that the Empire hasn't made the connection. I wouldn't be surprised if Drea's already in custody.
Right. They have her. And maybe that sets up a subplot where they try to rescue her from an Imperial prison or something like that.
Yeah.
These guys, they do think big sometimes, Two Boots always coming up with the ideas.
What if there's this scenario where, you see the way that Devin looks at Riley at the very end of the episode, and he's there and Two Boots is consoling him, and she gets this look on her face, Jim, and I've got a shot of it right here. It's like she's holding back tears a little bit. She knows what he's going through. She too is mourning the loss of her master. And it wouldn't surprise me if she throws down with Maul and says, because she says to him at the end, okay, all right, let's do it. But if she throws down and says, but I've got to see this kid back to his mother before I totally commit. I owe that to Lawson. We owe that to Lawson. And Maul's going to realize, just like he did with Daki, that he's, and I've said this a couple of times, I don't mean to be repeating myself, but he's got to isolate her from any other connections. She can't have any attachments or connections outside of Maul and her anger and quest for vengeance. So I could see this just being for Maul, just, a complication. He's so close to having her, but he's got to, I feel like anytime Maul does anything remotely good, it's for a bad reason, but he still has to sort of do it. So, all right, we'll get the kid back to his mom, and then we're going pure evil, I swear, okay? That's the last stop on our train to Sith Town.
They're doing a dance. They're doing a dance with each other, so I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. And Maul would say something like, yes, it'll be part of your training. Right. He'll try to incorporate it into some of her dark side training somehow.
Yeah.
He'll look at it as a good test for her or something. I could see it working out that way. Sure. There's a lot of potential into where you take this story from here. But things that I would rule out are a return to Janix. I don't think we're ever going to see any adventures happening there again. And the return of Brander Lawson. I think he's dead, folks, and you're just going to have to come to terms with that. Whether or not Disney knows how to kill people.
I think they're too good at it when it comes to Star Wars, to be honest with you. Although I get the whole idea of like the sabers to the gut and all of that. I get what you're saying. Let's talk a little bit about Two Boots. Definitely every character in this series, maybe with the exception of like a Rook cast, but for the most part, all of the big characters evolve. Even a droid who's programmed, and Two Boots goes from, quoting regulation and is even the reason that the Empire ends up on Janix, to sitting in the cargo bay of this ship with his arm around Riley Lawson. As you said, he was, almost sacrificed himself again with the gun and with the big the big cannon that he was manning, and he's really become, I think, a fun character. He provides great comic relief, as well as that sort of that thing that we love about our droids in Star Wars, where they're so close to being human, yet there's part of them that just doesn't quite go over. Does he have a future, or is his future tied to Riley's? Can we have a Two Boots that maybe sticks with Devin or sticks with Maul or Vario? They did seem to like they were teaming them up a little bit when they were on the skiff going across the toxic sludge. And he said, "Oh, I suppose you think I'm no better than you," or something like that, So what do you think Two Boots' future could be? And is it connected like really directly with Riley's?
Yeah, I think it is connected with Riley's. I think Riley is the apple that doesn't fall far from the tree. We know Brander Lawson had a past as a bounty hunter, and I predict Riley Lawson will become a bounty hunter with Two Boots as his droid sidekick.
Whoa!
There it is.
Okay.
I mean, what else does a droid do in the galaxy post-Clone Wars? He's not on Janix anymore. That's what Mac and I are going
to do after this podcast wraps up. We give this up, we both become bounty hunters. Yeah.
That's right.
Been the plan all along.
It sure has been. We just don't have the gear yet. That's why we're doing the podcast, so we can, drum up a couple of bucks to get some gear. We don't have gear. I need a fire spray Slave 1.
We need a cool look. We definitely need a cool look. Okay, so we're going to get into Docky in a minute, but I do want to cover some of the other losses that we have here in this episode. We got to talk about Spybot. We hardly knew ye. Do y'all think in the chat that he's coming back in season 2?
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah, so
I could really go for no more Spybot.
Really?
Ever again.
I'll tell you what, man. I didn't hate him. He grew on me a little bit, but I'll tell you what he did for me in this episode. When I saw him, we're talking about the comic relief of the show. When I saw him die, I thought, man, anything could happen at this point. Of all characters, he was kind of like the warning sign for me, like, oh, the stakes are high on this. And that's why I would really hate for Lawson to come back, because what I respect so much, and the reason I'm glowing about these episodes, not that I love to see characters die, but if they die for a reason, a good cause, and if it keeps the stakes high in the story and keeps us guessing, because like you said, Jim, last week, we know what happens to Maul, that we know what happens to Vader, we know what happens to these big characters in the show, but we gotta make use of the new characters and through sacrifice and stuff. So when I saw Spybot die, I thought, they're playing for keeps, even though he's just a droid.
Yeah, it's great evolution for the story by stripping Maul of all of his support staff.
Yeah,
because Spybot just represented yet another one of Maul's resources that he lost. And everything gets lost on Janix. So when he gets picked up by Drayden Voss at the end of the movie and he goes off to become involved in the criminal underground, he's leaving everything behind. There's nothing to leave behind, actually. He's starting fresh, completely fresh. That's a huge threshold for him to walk through to get on board Drayden Voss's ship. And so losing everything that gave him support on Janix is fine for the storytelling. It's just his evolution letting us know it's going to the next level. And the next level doesn't include this type of support staff, mercenaries working for Maul, evil droids, out of work Mando mercs, and the occasional or the random Zabrak Night Brother. Yeah. He doesn't need that. That's slumming it. Now he's moving up into the big leagues, into organized criminal, into an organization. So he doesn't need all of this stuff. And Spybot, what are we going to do without such classic dialogue as "Comms go bye-bye, me jam comms"?
Okay. All right.
And the droid was getting insufferable with the baby talk. I'm so glad Booshki Doo is Booshki dead.
Okay. That aside, like whether you like the character or not,
yeah,
the death of these characters, and it went back with what's his name, the first Zabrak brother that died, not Icarus,
Scorn.
Scorn. Yeah, I can never remember Scorn's name. Yeah, Scorn. I was making the case to you that I thought that Maul was showing some real emotion. I'll put it that way. I don't want to say sadness, but definitely emotion when he lost Scorn. Definitely emotion when he lost Spybot. And Spybot, as stupid as it sounds, is the only time we see Maul being anything remotely affectionate. You know what I mean? He pets him almost like he's his dog. Right. So he is sort of this emotional bridge that we have to Maul, like the one little bit of maybe humanity that's left in Maul. He shows it to Spybot. Let's talk about Icarus here. This guy. He's all about loyalty. He doesn't. He goes out in a blaze of glory, but this is not a character or a person that anyone outside of Maul is ever going to remember. But it was a great death scene, with those knives those 3 knives that shot out and taking out those stormtroopers and the perspective and everything that went into that as you're seeing the knives, heading towards the troopers. And then, of course, he tackles all three of them. His last dying breath is tackling all three of them, throwing them into the sludge. And I looked a couple of times and I didn't see because they're very good with this show of showing Maul's response to certain things going on. He's reacting to a lot of things. There was no real reaction to the loss of Icarus like there was Scorn. I know Maul was pretty distracted.
Yeah.
But then Root cast. I mean, so yeah, it's like bang, bang, bang. We're losing all of these characters. This to me, Jim, you mentioned this at the top of the show, how cool this was. I thought this was like right out of a Predator movie, where all of a sudden it's invisible and the character goes down and you just see him disappear into the dark forest. And I don't know what was, what I was hearing. I thought I heard like monsters, like crunching sounds or something at first. And part of me was like, is this going to be Vader? Is this the big moment that we're waiting for? Because right before this, I think we hear one of the Inquisitors say, tell him they're coming or whatever, like that. They're on their way. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like they're setting up Vader. But I don't know, the sound effects there, it sounded like a monster was crunching down on their bones or something. At least it was to me.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because I read in the notes on StarWars.com, and I'll read them to you. The death of Rook cast. When Vanessa Marshall, who is the voice of Rook, when she recorded Rook cast's final unseen battle, she told the assembled crew that she was aiming for "he pulled my lungs out of my throat" type of sound.
Oh my God.
So to add to the effect, sound designers added the classic throat crush effect from Star Wars A New Hope. So like when Vader...
That's what I was hearing.
So I took the sequence into the RFR Sound Lab and tried to deconstruct the audio track from that moment and isolate the sounds of not only Vanessa Marshall screaming for her life and sounding like someone is ripping her lungs through her throat, but also you'll hear that throat crunch effect. I was able to isolate this to great effect.
Someone is out there.
That is gnarly sounding.
Yeah, definitely.
Play one more time. One more time for the chills.
Someone is out there.
Yeah. If this is a counselor ship, where is the ambassador? Right there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, Maul loses everything. And in a way, he's having happened to him what he was all along going to do to Devon, which was get her alone, get her isolated, take out the master. There's even a moment where Rook says, "What about the old man?" And Maul says, "Oh, have some respect. He's a Jedi master. Will even be for now," so he's not completely lost it. But at the same time, I mean, everything gets taken from Maul, which in a weird way kind of makes him more dangerous and more relatable to Devon. So it's like, even when this guy loses, he kind of wins because he can say, "We're both alone now." Right. Yes, we've both lost everything.
They show Devon at the end of episode 9 when she's sitting there with Maul and she shows compassion for Maul. "Your friends, I'm sorry, they're gone. I'm sorry they got smoked." But and Daki seems very concerned by this compassion she's sharing for Darth Maul. But as you said, that might be kind of the connective tissue between the two of them. They're both going through massive loss and both having to lean on what they know about the Force to help them survive. And I think Devin is starting to realize the only way that she believes she'll be able to survive is by tapping into the dark side. And here's this guy who's more than willing to show her the ropes.
We do want to get to your calls here in just a little bit. So I want to get the switchboard open and remind you of the phone number to call. It's 708-866-1737. So if you are within the sound of our voices right now, you want to give us a call. The chat's great. Super chats are great. But we really want to get you on the air with us and tell us your theories. Hey, you think Brander Lawson is still alive? Tell us why. Of all the deaths, which hit you the hardest? Was Brander the real hero of this finale? Two Boots, does he have to keep his promise? Is his future, is his destiny linked with Riley's? Does Riley have any good options left? Those are all the things and much more on the table. Plus, any comment you want to make about the series in general. This is the big finale. We want to hear it. So 708-866-1737. All right, Jim, talking about all these deaths, we got one more, and it's a big one because we've been wondering on pins and needles ever since the old man clutched his chest. There, I think that was episode 2 or whatever. That he was like, "Oh, I'm still alive. I'm beat up, but I'm still alive." When is Master Daki gonna die? When is Master Daki gonna die? And we finally found out. And what makes his death, even though it was inevitable and we've been predicting it, what makes it so tough is that I think there was a moment when Daki thought he could trust Maul. Maybe in the heat, he kept imploring Maul. It was really like, I'm going to use an analogy. You're probably going to hate it because I don't know if you watched the show, but it was a very popular show. Cobra Kai, right? The series that went on and continued the story of Karate Kid. And what was interesting about it was, in this way, it represents two characters, Daniel, Ralph Macchio, and then Johnny Lawrence. They represented two very different schools of thought in karate, and very, very similar to the light side and dark side of the Force. But at some point in the series, they sort of combined and they realized that you can't just sit around and wait for your enemy to hit you. You got to use some level of aggression, but it can't be all aggression. And I think that's kind of like the balance that Master Daki was trying to get Maul to understand. He was actually, I don't want to say preaching to Maul, but he was trying to reach Maul throughout their battle with the Inquisitors and Vader. Mm-hmm. But Maul was so insistent that just unlocking his rage was going to make him victorious. And I really think that Daki, maybe it's just a byproduct of being a Jedi. I don't want to say that they're naive, but I just felt like up to the very last minute when he realizes that Maul has abandoned him and left him, that he thought that there was a shot that they could really work together. No. And for Daki, it wasn't just the lightsaber choreography working together. It was almost like Daki was asking Maul to join him mentally, spiritually, and get together on the same page.
Something that doesn't really get used as a term to describe Jedi and those who walk along the light side path. The word that never gets used to describe them is optimistic. It seems like Daki is being not only optimistic, he's being overly optimistic in this particular moment. He is, I think, expecting that Maul is capable of things that Maul is just simply not capable of. And he didn't really make a good point for it. When Vader keeps force pushing him and stuff. Oh, the force pushing that goes on. Is it becoming plot armor, force pushing? It seems like it disrupts the flow of almost every action sequence with Jedi. They do this a lot in animation. The force push, it's constant.
But it makes sense, though, because you got to have a breather And I
Yeah, I
think
know.
that,
I get it.
but I want to say that this move right here,
Yeah.
I want to say it's a forced shove. When Maul, I think
Yeah.
Maul shoves Daki into Vader. So maybe there's a new, there's the force pull, there's the force push, and this is, I think, the debut of the force shove. But I get what you're saying.
it all adds up. So right as I type too much force pushing during saber duels, I write in my notes, and I'm watching it, and Maul pushes Daki into Vader, and I was like, okay, we'll back up. Here's a force push that actually has serious ramifications on the story. It's not just being used to give us a breather, which is what you said and which I strongly believe in. I don't need a breather. I'm not the one doing the saber dueling here. These animated characters are, and I'm enjoying it. Stop disrupting it with a force push all the time. But yeah, sure enough, it comes into play and has big ramification on the story. So he pushes Daki into Vader for two reasons. Number one, Maul realized that his fighting abilities were totally diminished with that injured leg, and realized that if he stayed in the fight, even with Daki, they both would get killed. He knew that would happen.
Yep.
So he figures, why delay the inevitable? I'm just going to push the old man into Vader and get this over with, because I hear Devin yelling she needs help.
Yeah.
And her master is in no position to go help her. So he doesn't deserve to be her master anyway. So I'm going to be her master. I'm going to get this guy off my back, push him into Vader, and then go help Devin. Now, something else that has it's recurred maybe 4 or 5 times in season 1 is this notion of Maul having the damaged leg. And I'm waiting for it constantly to come into play and actually matter to the story, because it hasn't. It really hasn't. Every time Maul, it seems like he's slowed down by it, he pulls off some amazing acrobatic feat and he's right back in the battle. It always just seems to be super temporary. And here it is. It's finally happening. I believe that in the story, it matters suddenly that Maul has this damaged leg. And that's when he's watching Devon dueling with the Crow, and he offers Devon one of his sabers, and she takes it. Or Devin. I'm sorry, Devin. Again, there's Devon Avenue in Chicago, and I keep doing that. Devin. So he throws Devin gets the saber. I'm thinking, Maul can't fight at all right now. He can't even jump in to help Devin against the Crow.
Right.
But as soon as she takes the saber, then Maul's lighting up his and jumping into the action. And he pulls off this incredible move where he runs up the wall and onto the ceiling and comes down on the other side of the Crow. It's really incredible. And something he definitely had to eat his Wheaties for to be able to pull off. So again, the bad leg is not coming into play in the story. The only thing I could think of is that when we get introduced to Maul in Rebels, he's limping and has a cane, but I thought that was just to indicate that he had gotten older.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he had this nagging.
God, I don't remember him having a cane.
I think he did have a cane.
Is that when he's old master?
Yeah, when he's old master. Does he walk with a cane or no? I know he limps around.
Okay.
But does he walk with a cane?
How did he
I'm
get his
waiting for the
limp?
chat
Now we
room.
know. Yeah.
Waiting for people in the chat to say, yeah, he walked with a cane, or no, you're not remembering it correctly.
Yeah, I like that. I like, Jim, how you laid out that it wasn't the decision to shove Daki into Vader wasn't just let's bump off the old man. I like all the layers that you've thrown in there. His own physical limitations, being tired. Why should they both die?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
who's going to train Devin then?
Right. Right.
So he's taking responsibility here. He's a very responsible Darksider.
No doubt. So yeah. We got NorCal Gidget says, yes, just watched Rebels. He has a cane. I totally forgot about him having a cane.
Old master.
Oh, the cane was his lightsaber.
Oh.
Kane.
Well, how does that work? Wouldn't it just go right through the floor? Yeah. You remember Peter Mayhew, the late great Peter Mayhew, Chewbacca? When he got a little older, he had difficulty maneuvering around the airports and everywhere he had to go for conventions and convention centers themselves. So he would walk around with a lightsaber cane. Remember that?
Yes.
It was a blue saber blade, and it had the hilt on it and everything. And TSA Customs or somebody, they took the cane away from him once. They thought it was a weapon.
Oh God. So Docky, here's something I thought was surprised me. And I went back and I rewatched the whole bit between Maul and Vader and Docky over and over, because first time I saw that force shove, I was like, am I seeing things? Did he just shove? Because this show, despite it being an animated show, isn't afraid in being nuanced and somewhat subtle. Not everything is hitting you over the head. And so I rewound it. I'm like, he is. But what threw me off, Jim, was Docky doesn't react to it. Right. He doesn't react to it at all. He doesn't look over his shoulder and be like, hey, what just happened? He doesn't really react until he realizes that Maul is gone. And that's when he realizes I'm beaten. And the relentlessness of Vader's blows with that saber. I've never seen Vader action evoke the heaviness that it must have been. He's half droid. So those relentless and, droid blows with those arms is just, you feel it. You really do feel the weight behind Vader in this, I think, more than you see in Rogue One, or, he's zipping around, all over the place in Empire, in that scene with Luke on Bespin. He's jumping and stuff like that. And there's a point where Luke kicks him in Jedi and he kind of does like a backflip. Even in live action, I just didn't get the sense of the power of Vader. I did. Yeah.
When he was beating down on Docky with the saber, he was reminded me of Luke beating down on Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi. It seemed like it had that same sort of energy. Just keep just plowing away. Keep hitting that hammer over and over again.
If you recall, it's right after Docky lands a shot on Vader's shoulder, and that pisses Vader off, and that's when he really loses it, and he's like, okay, I've toyed around with you enough, old man. You're out. You're out. But the beautiful shot of the dying Docky and Devin, like I said to Tyler before we started, I said, I really feel sorry for Star Wars fans that think they're either too grown up or too cool to watch cartoons, because there was more expression in the face of Docky in his last breaths and the little whiskers on his beard, more expression, more emotion on that than, I'll just say, most of what has come out since 2012 when it comes to live action. I really was pulled in and captivated by this. And the expressions on Devin, very reminiscent of Obi-Wan after Qui-Gon is struck down. Just a complete, total tour de force. I cannot say enough about how gripping and amazing this show is to watch visually. Just incredibly stunning.
Eco Dio Dead Docky. Yeah, but it was great when Devin saw him die, and she clearly started to tap into her rage just immediately. And this is what Maul had signed up for.
Yes,
this is the exact result he wanted. So to add another layer to Maul force pushing Docky into Vader, add another layer to it. He's going to succeed in drawing Devin finally to the dark side, present her with laws.
Yeah.
That because that rush of emotion is everything to a dark sider. It's anger, it's fear, it's aggression, all balled up into one explosive little moment. And he knew that Devin wouldn't be able to contain herself. She wouldn't be able to contain all of those ingredients in a dark side stew that Maul has been craving. It's just bam, it delivered. And so she was primed and ready to go.
Yeah.
But what was even better for Maul was once it was over, they escaped, they're on the ship, they're leaving. She turns around and says to him, yeah, you can go ahead and train me, sure. Because she realizes she has nothing left. She has nowhere to go. She has nobody to lean on for support or instruction or anybody to act as a mentor towards her. And yet she's bursting with these powers, and she has this newfound rage. She has this desire for vengeance. She wants to kill Vader, not because it's her duty as a Jedi Knight to do battle against the Dark Lord of the Sith. This is far more personal. Vader killed her master, so she naturally wants to take revenge. And Maul is going to help her dig deep into her own.
I think, Jim, you should be the defense attorney for Darth Maul in the murder suit against Master Daki, because you're laying out a hell of a case. It's almost like Maul had no choice, given everything that was stacked up, all the stakes. He really had no choice but to bump off the old man. It really was the best path forward.
Really, I mean, that was the greatest opportunity. That was
Right.
It was all right there in one moment. He was able to achieve everything he was seeking to achieve from the first minute this season began. Remember, in the first episode, Rukast is asking him about the visions he keeps having about taking on an apprentice.
Mhm.
This whole season's been building up to this moment, and it finally happened, and Maul is victorious. It was fitting. The final shot of season 1 was just this extreme close-up on Maul as he sort of is realizing, hey, all the dominoes just fell in my direction, didn't they?
Yeah, he gets over things real quick.
Sure, I lost a bunch of friends in the process, but hey, to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes. So Devin's rage is totally understandable. It starts with the need to survive, living hand to mouth. We meet them in the first couple of episodes, and then the constant pressure from the Empire. Then the pressure of watching the whole ensemble, her group, just get picked apart. And then seeing Maul be able to sort of just operate without remorse. I mean, that's very tempting. And then, of course, Daki's death, and it just takes her, over the edge. And where Daki represents stability and compassion and the Jedi path forward. And as I was saying earlier, he's really trying to get all three of them to unify against Vader. And Maul's response to just take him completely out of the equation is very epic. So the other, you were talking about the very end and how they're kind of just sitting there, and it was a surprisingly intimate moment. Like she's sitting there kind of cross-legged, very much like a kid, like a teenager. And the way they directed the character, the staging of this scene where he just leans back against the wall and just slides down to be like right next to her, like really getting on her level. I mean, the guy really is great at sort of mirroring and relating to the point where, yeah, I almost fall prey. It's like, hey, maybe I want to be Maul's apprentice. He seems pretty cool, in a lot of ways. So I just, it doesn't seem like just hollow or shallow, this relationship. I really feel like it has, as you and I have been saying, Jim, for most of these after shows, everything is earned and everything pays off with this show down to the last shot. You were just talking about Maul's kind of self-satisfied look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure does. It's well thought out. And we really got a full season and a full story out of this season, which again, they didn't Bad Batch us. Hey, look, I like the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
But if you compare the two, Maul season 1 and Bad Batch season 1, it's apples and oranges. There's just no comparison between the two.
No, not at
This
all.
is a far superior show, and it is bringing fans into Star Wars. The word of mouth has been so powerful with this. We've been hearing from a lot of younger viewers, which I think is great. People are discovering RFR because of the Maul Shadow Lord show. I think that's great. And also we're hearing from fans who may have turned their back on Star Wars over the last few years, and now they're being brought back in by Maul Shadow Lord. They say, wow, and you guys are still podcasting. I can't believe it. So
my dad used to listen to you guys.
Pretty soon he'd be like my grandfather. But hey guys, we celebrate our 20th anniversary this September. So
crazy.
I don't want to date us or anything, but I wouldn't want to date us either. Nobody would. All right, whatever.
We're gonna yeah.
No, that sounded like a good segue. And
okay,
I just stepped all
we're
over
gonna get to the calls here just a minute. There's a couple of moments before we leave this conversation about Devin that I just want to point out. I took some screen grabs of just because I thought they were really, really well done. The one is when there was great tension that was built up as they were, 2 by 2 using the little skiff thing across the toxic water, and Daki is telling Devin to go, and she goes, "Are you sure, Master?" And did you notice what she does? She looks over at Maul. She says, "Are you sure, Master?" or something to that effect. And then she looks at Maul, and Maul gives her a nod. Like she needed permission from both of them. Like she's so confused, he's so in her head.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other thing we can talk about. So hopefully some of our callers will bring that up about the dream that he gave her in episode 9, which is kind of interesting. There might be precedent for that, which we can talk about. So there's that moment. And then honestly, maybe my favorite moment in this episode outside of the Vader stuff is when she really loses her, after Daki gets killed and goes after Ghostface, the 11th brother, completely loses it. Maul gets this little grin on his face. This is right after he just shoved Daki into Vader. Gets this little grin. He's observing her rage. And Jim, it goes from the hunter becoming the hunted. She chases down the 11th brother, the crow. So the role becomes completely reversed. Here she was barely surviving. She tunes into her rage, and then she's chasing after him, and he's running away from her. It was so well done. Loved that.
That was great. After this confrontation, and she faced Vader, and Maul brought the ceiling of this temple they were in. He brought it down on Vader. That's the real key. If you want to defeat Vader, you bring a temple down on, or you throw a bunch of stones and boulders at him and stuff like they did in the Kenobi show. They did that a few times here. You bring the ceiling down on the guy. You just have to crush him under whatever you got. And you
got to find separation between you and him, because if there's no barrier between you and him, you're toast.
I don't think Vader has ever been force pushed until this conflict, because it seems to be shocking when it happens. He gets force pushed, and it's always two people who do it. You have to have two force users working in unison to give Vader a push. And what it is, when you force push a guy like Vader, you don't slam him up against the wall or anything. He just kind of slides back about 5 or 10 feet, and he takes a knee, and he just slowly looks up. And it's like, oh, damn, you force pushed Vader. That would be like Mike Tyson hitting the canvas, back in the day when he was in his prime. The idea of that actually occurring was absurd, impossible. It just couldn't happen. So they did it to him twice in this episode. It was a combination of Devin and Docky, and then Maul and Devin, and they force push. It was Devin and Docky and Maul and Docky. Yes. And that's what happens. You just force push him back. He goes back about 5 feet and then takes a knee. And it almost seems like Vader is stunned. Like,
oh yeah,
did that happen? Did that really happen? Right. Did you get that? Did you get that? I got force push. Do you believe it?
Yeah. You almost wonder if there's a part of Vader that's like, finally, a little bit of a challenge, that he's been maybe picking off some of these other, maybe lesser skilled Jedi that are down on their luck. But Maul's a whole other kettle of fish. And when you combine him, with two other Jedi, very cool stuff. Here's a cool theory. We're going to go to the phones here. This is Mando the Pirate calling in here. You got a theory about Devin and Starfighter. Hello, Mando Pirate.
Hey, Chut, Jimmy, and Jason. Yeah, I think there's evidence that Devin could be Mia Goth's character in Starfighter.
Oh, I like the way you're thinking. She's young enough. That's possible. I mean, I haven't really been looking at this show saying to myself, oh, well, this person is going to evolve into that character, etc. But it would be a nice little bit of connective tissue to have a character from animation cross over that way. Just as long as they're not trying to like continue the story as it was being told in the Maul Shadow Lord. Just assume the audience had all seen it.
That's the
because
key,
that's
right?
the trap.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the trap that Marvel fell into by making their streaming series and their movies all sort of on the same kind of thread. And Star Wars is just, people are counting on the Mandalorian and Grogu to fail in that way. Is they think that we won't pay attention to, or general audiences won't pay attention to it because it'll get crushed under its own lore. But in the case of starting off with something fresh like Starfighter, to have something that connects it to past storytelling, like having a Devin character played by Mia Goth in the film, I think that would be a pretty cool way of connecting the two, the show and the film. I think that would be a pretty cool way and something I never even thought of.
Mando Pirate, you said that there's evidence. What evidence would you lay on us here?
I just feel like, since they're introducing like, a new character like Devin into the show, I just feel like it'll be like, it just got to mean something. To,
why get us invested in another fallen Jedi or former Jedi or whatever? Why not actually have it mean something? I like it, and I like what Jim is saying about, it's fine to have these characters cross over, but don't do it in a way that assumes that everybody watched everything that that character had done previously or what have you. And it's got to be in a way that like will make it kind of an if you know, like if you do know where she comes from, it makes it a little cooler, but it's not a necessity. And but I love the theory. Thank you very much, Mando Pirate, first time caller. Appreciate it. Our next caller is certainly not a first time caller.
It's time for Blake's Take.
All right, only fitting that we would be treated to some Blake's Take action with the big season finale. Blake, welcome back to the show, buddy. Always great to hear from you.
Hey, Chut.
Chut. All right. Wasn't that long ago you were here. You were laying down some theories and things like that. Are you still sticking by some of these crazy, wacky ideas you've had?
Oh, I'm just gonna say this: I was 100% right. Everything I said came true, and even the part about Riley, I'm telling you, it's gonna come true.
Yeah, you said
because he's gonna be around.
Okay, well, remind us about some of your thoughts. I remember you were saying that Docky was going to get killed by Vader. I remember you saying that, and at the time, I did not believe it.
No, I said, I'm gonna go like bit by bit, and I'll even find the clips at some point, and I'll post them.
We believe you. We believe you.
If you guys don't believe me, I have evidence.
Oh no, I know you got the receipts, Blake. It's all right.
I said Devin was gonna save Maul from Vader with her lightsaber and block it, and that's exactly what happened. I said that Darth Vader is going to show up, come through dust, like some smoke, and the lightsaber would turn on, and you just see Vader. That's how the episode ended. And I even said that the Imperial shuttle would show up, and we see that in the episode too.
Well done.
And the death of Master Docky by Vader. I was on a roll.
I think I think we might have another prophet. You know, we had a showdown between you and FJ a couple years ago. But I tell you what, man, you are really throwing down. In fact, I've got FJ's scorecard over here from when he was on after the first episode. Hopefully, we'll catch up with FJ soon to go through his scorecard. But you've got your scorecard, and there were a couple of times, Blake, that you got right into my head as I was watching that finale saying, God bless it, I think Blake called this. So now is the time for you to just admit to everybody that Matt Miktovitz is your uncle and that Uncle Matt.
So, Teen Blake, any predictions on where the story is going to go from here?
I know you guys said that that the dad Lawson has a chance of surviving because we didn't see him die.
No, he has no chance
because he got shot.
We're not saying that he. No, we're not saying that he's alive. That's people in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, he got shot by blasters.
Yeah,
and that does a lot of damage. But Master Docky got stabbed with a lightsaber. And that doesn't do much anymore. So there's a chance that, that Docky could be alive.
Can you imagine?
I mean, because we saw Sabine live. We saw Reva live twice. And it's crazy.
It is crazy. I hope you're not actually suggesting that, because I think I might swear off Star Wars forever if season 2 opens up with the return of Matt. If that old codger somehow survived. And that's how they would write it, too. They'd say, somehow. Master Docky survived.
Yeah. Or he has 5 hearts or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're all in his feet. You know? So all the vital organs of his species are all in his feet. So you just, all you need to do is step on his foot to kill him. But Vader didn't know that. Though I think he's dead. I think he is firmly dead. I don't think there's any lightsaber, again, the wussification of Star Wars with lightsabers through the midsection and absolutely no consequences being paid by the character who took that saber to the midsection, other than maybe a dip in a Bacta tank or a bandage. I hate that destruction of the integrity of one of the coolest cinematic weapons ever created, the lightsaber. It's so amazing that it needs to be respected. And I think with respect of Vader sticking that blade through Docky's, I mean, he got him right in the heart. There's no way that little frog guy survived. But how great did Vader look? How great was that animation model? I thought I was watching live action.
Oh, I'm so glad they stopped with that the Clone Wars version of him and then the Rebels version of him. I couldn't stand it. I've got a really good shot of Vader here that I thought, just because he was obscured a lot throughout in darkness and smoke and whatnot, but there were a couple of really good close-ups where I thought, damn, this one right here, I thought, wow. I mean, that is like right out of, well, I mean, that's Darth Vader. I mean, there's no question there. And they didn't overdo the red lenses, by the way. The only time you saw red in his eyes was if it was reflecting the saber. But otherwise, I didn't notice them overdoing the red lenses. Blake, I want to follow up with you because you did have this idea that Riley would be force sensitive, and you thought it had something to do with sports, and that was why we introduced him as an athlete that's scoring goals in space soccer or lacrosse.
I mean, I think now he's hurt. He's mourning the loss of his father, and he's all around force sensitive people. He's around Maul and Devin, and Devin is learning from Maul how to like use her rage and become on the dark side and all that stuff. And he's gonna feel like he's like out, and he's gonna realize of like over time he's gonna find out he's force sensitive. And he'll have powers.
I'm not going to sit here and disagree with Blake anymore. I can't because
you better not.
It always turns out to be true. I don't see narratively how it helps. I think it makes it waters things down a little bit if you give him force powers. I do think that he could be there as one more obstacle in the way of Maul having sort of complete and total dedication of from Devin. So I think he still serves a purpose there, but we'll have to see, buddy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, and it's always great to talk to you. And I know the listeners always look forward to it. And
Kid Blake,
we do too.
All I have to say to you is I want you to always remember you're not small, you're super tall. Take that with you wherever you go.
I think I'm the one that has to be thinking about that more than Blake. Blake's probably 5'11" by now. Let's okay.
How tall are you, Blake? Oh, is he gone?
He's
I
gone.
know how
He's
tall
gone.
Kid Blake is.
What else we
we'll
got
find
here?
out off the air.
Danny from Vegas. Danny from Vegas, also a Patreon supporter. Hello, Danny. Welcome back to, well, I don't know. Is it welcome? It looks like welcome back based on the notes here. You've been on with us before. Good to hear you.
Gentlemen, can you hear me?
Shut. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. I'll get to it. 3 little topics. I'm going to try to get them done as quickly as possible to give room for the other callers. I didn't call in from the get because I kind of wanted to give a final review, watch all of them, but I just want to say that the music and the flow of the storytelling has just been excellent. Linear storytelling at its best. And one thing that I just popped out from the start is the foreshadowing is on point. No mystery boxes. Everyone likes to speculate. That's the one thing that I love about the show. But everything's, it's being told in front of us, and it's, like one episode to the other. There's no filler. You guys have been saying that from the start. But a perfect example is the seeds of the dark side that were planted on Devin from the start. Like, we slowly started seeing it and slowly been watching it, like the fruit is bearing that the Maul planted. It's right in front of us. And even Docky sees it. The first and final episode, he goes, after Maul's, trying to convince Docky to use a regression, even at the end, as he walks away, he goes, perhaps. Like, he is kind of like understanding it. The other thing I wanted to say is that I really love the fact that it gave a little bit of homage to Sam Witwiger's character, the Star Killer, when Maul switched over to the double-bladed lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
He held it just like a Star Killer. He had those crazy moves. He had those crazy jumps.
Yeah, I heard some other people talking about that, Danny. That might have been a Star Killer Easter egg there.
But would you even consider it if it wasn't Whitwer doing the voice of Maul? Probably not. I mean, what's the connection here other than the voice of the character? I think, whatever. Go on, caller.
Just for a fact, I just think they did that up just to give. But the other thing I wanted to say is, I know you guys been preaching, convincing me otherwise. But I gotta say, I think there's a reason why we all saw Lawson watch Docky kind of get shoved or get ditched. There's a reason. So far, they've been planting these seeds on purpose. And as sucky as it sounds, I think Disney's they captured that guy. I think Lawson higher. And
I'm sorry. The Danny, the phone was really cutting out. I think we got the gist of your last point there was that Lawson lives, and the evidence of that is his witnessing Maul pushing Docky into Vader. Jim, the argument is everything else is paid off. Why not that?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is sus. I'll give you that. That is sus to really make a point of having him witness that and then not tell anyone. It's like, well, then what's the point of showing us that he witnessed that?
Mm-hmm.
Since this show, like the caller was saying, it's been pretty tight storytelling wise, and the foreshadowing has paid off in just about every way, except for that one alien that I thought was Juan Sandage, who was hanging out in the casino. And I thought he was a spy or something. That never paid off. That never paid off.
That ridiculously long hold on the character's face. It had to have been someone, in animation being like, oh, I worked so hard on this character and you only see it for a second. And, the director's like, okay, here, fine. Yeah. Here's your character
Easter
design.
Egg for all the pod race fans. It's an Easter egg for anyone who played Star Wars Racer on Nintendo 64. But like Jimmy Mack.
Right.
That kid. Yeah. So, that didn't pay off. But everything else does pretty much pay off in this show. And so what's the point of having him witness that if he's not going to eventually tell Devin? But if, I get the feeling Devin even realizes, that Maul is not a good guy. And the death of Master Docky, it appeared to Devin that he just lost the battle. She saw him get stabbed by Vader.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's even going to make much of a difference for her to learn the truth about what
I think it would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
I don't think she's that far gone. Although the further she falls to the dark side, Jim, the less it will matter.
Right.
If she finds out today, as the story's going, it's going to matter. If she finds out after she's been, and that's why I wonder about a potential time jump between seasons 1 and 2. Will season 2 open a year later and she's already got a year of training with Maul under her belt?
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I hope so. But I have the feeling that Maul is going to corrupt her memory of Docky, and she's going to not remember him for being the kind guy who looked out after her and trained her and was very benevolent and walked the light path and all that. She's going to look back at him and think of him as a loser, as the prime example for why the Jedi fell. And the
total
guy who was
loser.
holding her back. What's that?
I said total loser. This guy was a total loser.
Your old master was a total loser.
And then Maul, he does the thing where he puts the L on his forehead.
Right, and then does the dance. Yeah, right.
Loser.
Here's Scott St. Louis. He says, the show was everything I would have hoped for from The Acolyte. Okay, so yeah, it's far better than The Acolyte. I love seeing the seduction to the dark side. Jason and Jimmy, how influential do you think Sam Witwer has been in creating this story? I think Sam has been enormously influential in this show. Our good pal FJ DeSanto was at the premiere of these 2 episodes yesterday, and there was a panel discussion that featured Dave Filoni and Sam Witwer. I'm hoping that there was in that panel, we could talk to FJ and find out, if Sam revealed, now that the first season's out the door and everyone's seen it, just how much he's actually been a part of the development of it. He's definitely talked about it to some degree, but I just wonder, now that he realizes and Filoni realizes that the fans have really liked this show, that might embolden them to talk a little bit more about how it came down. Because if we all hated it, we'd be like, oh, God, keep Witwer out of there, that guy. But the fact that, everyone seems to like it, it might bode well. So, Jim, you were nodding. I think you also are assuming that Sam has had quite a hand in this.
Well, you can't keep him quiet, that's for sure. And if Sam notices something that seems amiss in the story structure or the depiction of Maul as a character, he's going to start talking about it.
Yep.
And considering that he was a consulting producer on the show, I don't know how much he had to do as far as influencing the actual story structure itself. But I think that when it comes down to like real subtle parts of the character and certain lines of dialogue, things of that nature, I think Sam had a lot to do with it, or just motivations for Maul. I think Sam said a lot about the character.
Well, I mean, Sam
was listened to.
I mean, Sam's known for being very vocal on the set of the shows that he's done and offering his 2 cents about the direction of the character. I think he's one of those for sure. And I'm seeing on the chat that panel is actually on YouTube. I've not seen that. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll have highlights for you this week on the weekly RFR, if anything is worth talking about.
Maybe. I was thinking about doing another half hour on the Burger King Mando meals. I think that's what people want.
Peter Beiser says, Maul was really special. Thanks for hosting the party here each week, guys. Can't wait to see you and the whole RFR gang in Cleveland. May the force be with you and you, Peter. Thank you very much. Peter, did you get your sunglasses, dude? Would you please put Jimmy Mac's mind at ease and tell us that you got your sunglasses? Because I spent $6.38 to mail them to you.
Stop.
So
stop it.
Just to let you know, you can pay me back in Cleveland. All right, here's Kurt Bear Tattoo.
Peter.
Says, a lot of rhyming poetry, especially in the duels, echoes of Luke, Ahsoka, and Starkiller. My favorite bit of symmetry was both Maul and Vader are physically half of a man at the hands of Kenobi. I didn't even think about that. That's a really cool point. They definitely share a lineage. Something I wanted to ask you, Jim, because a pal of mine asked me this, and I started to answer, and then I stopped myself, and I needed to think about it a little bit more. Does Darth Maul know that this is Anakin Skywalker?
Okay, there's one moment in the show that indicates he may have figured it out, and it is right after they initially encounter Vader. They get away, Daki, Devin, and Maul. And Daki is talking to Devin, and he says, I think we're dealing with a Dark Lord of the Sith here. This is no run-of-the-mill Inquisitor.
Right.
This is the real deal here. And while they're having that exchange, Maul is in the background, sort of looking down, shaking in his head, and he goes, no, it can't be. It can't be. No. I think he's having the realization that he may have identified the guy underneath the helmet. And that's the only time that I could think of that indicates Maul may have realized who's inside that walking iron lung.
So maybe some implicit clues, but not an explicit answer in this episode. But the fact that he just realizes that this is a Dark Lord of the Sith and not an Inquisitor would at least, regardless of whether he realizes it's Anakin Skywalker, would certainly be kind of a mind screw for Maul, who sees this is This was another one of my replacements. This guy has my life. He stole my career.
Well, wasn't Darth Maul also a Dark Lord of the Sith?
Yes,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is he was the one that was supposed to be the Emperor's right hand,
Right.
not this guy in the armor.
Yeah.
So
Unlike
kind of
the
like
other
he
goons.
stole my destiny. Although, there was Dooku, there was Grievous to some extent.
Well, it seemed like he was relating to those Inquisitors at one point when he's facing down Merrick and the Crow. He says something along the lines like, "Oh yeah, you're just another stooge that Palpatine has sent, or Sidious has sent out, like I used to do. Like, he used to send me out like that just to get killed."
Yes.
So Darth Maul is a Dark Lord of the Sith.
He
I always
absolutely is.
believed him to be. Yeah, right?
Yes.
I mean, when you become the apprentice to the master, Sith Lord, doesn't that instantly make you a Dark Lord of the Sith as well? I think it does.
Doesn't Qui-Gon identify him? I have no doubt that the
was a Sith Lord. Yeah, he says that.
Yeah, the individual I met in the desert was a Sith Lord, and a Sith, you say?
Of course. It's just the introduction of all these Inquisitors has blurred the line for me.
Yeah.
As far as like Darth
see
Maul's
that.
status. But you're right. I mean, it's absolutely that's been established that Maul is a fully fledged Dark Lord of the Sith. That is until he renounces his Sith faith, I guess.
Yeah.
He renounces it. He
Well, and he
doesn't
cuts
go
up
by
the
Darth.
membership card with his lightsaber, and then once
That's
you
official.
don't have the card,
That's official. Yeah, he did it in the bathroom, staring at himself in the mirror, like his eyes are welling up with tears. He's just staring at himself.
Right.
He cuts up the card. He looks in the mirror and he goes, "Well, I guess that's that." He sniffs his own armpits, applies some deodorant,
oh jeez,
goes
Hey,
about
look-
his. Hey, Sith Lords poop too, Everybody poops.
Looks who's in the chat here, baby Belushi, noted author, as well as just a great guy. Top-notch serving of Dough Wars. What a ride all season long. Love you guys. See you in Cleveland. Oh, sweet. Great to see you, baby Belushi, coming out and meeting us in Cleveland. That'll be a good time.
Yes, always is.
We got
Always is.
Jonathan Tilley says, amazing series. No filler, amazing action, and such a simple but impactful story. It had a John Wick feel of storytelling, high octane, straightforward, perfectly balanced. I haven't seen any of the John Wick stuff, so I'll take your word for it, Jonathan. But definitely agree. High octane, straightforward, balanced, all that stuff.
I agree as well. I thought the story structure was excellent. It was very easy to follow. You know what else was easy to follow? And it's not often the case, especially with animation, is the fight choreography is so
yes.
well plotted out in this show. There aren't many other Star Wars stories, animated or live action, that you could look at and say, boy, that's better than Maul Shadow Lord. Very few, if any, as far as the fight choreography goes.
I don't think there is any that you could point to, Jim. I don't think there is.
It's so sharp and clean and crisp and easy
tells a story.
It tells a story in itself.
Right.
I mean, when we think about those great saber duels from the original trilogy or the prequels, where those saber duels will tell a story as well, especially that Qui-Gon, Maul, and Obi-Wan from the Phantom Menace. That one, it
set
went
the
over
standard.
And their saber duels all happen in these crazy environments, like on top of trains or underground temples, or at a lake of underground acid. So that's what I really like too. The environment has to come into play with a great saber duel. It really does.
Yes,
the environment plays a vital role. And that's where I think the sequels fell a little bit short. There's only one saber duel that I think is really worthy of Star Wars in the entire sequel trilogy, and that's the duel in Rise of Skywalker with Kylo and Rey outside the Death Star ruins, just because the environment really plays a heavy hand in all of that, with the waves crashing around on them and everything, and then force leaping from segment to segment in the remains of the Death Star. I think that's really cool. Fighting in a forest like they do in The Force Awakens is such fan film garbage that it makes me want to puke.
Well, in fairness, there was some forest fighting here in this show as well, with Vader, and his first appearance was in a forest, and then it was settled in that.
But it was a creepy, foggy
ruin.
forest. Creepy, foggy forest. That makes a difference. If it's a creepy, foggy forest, just a straight up forest with the snow gently falling around you is fan film worthy. It really is. And then I guess there's the duel in the Rise, or the Last Jedi, where they're fighting after Kylo kills Snoke, and they brawl with. But that's not a saber duel. That's them fighting those Praetorian guards. So it's not saber on saber action. So I don't really count that one.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Cody. Cody from Southern California. You're on the Force Radio.
Commander Cody, come in, Commander.
Hey, Cody. Hello, Cody.
I guess my bad Ewan McGregor scared him away.
Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Oh.
Woo!
There I am. Yeah. Hey, guys. Yeah, just in time. First time call here. I wanted to talk about the old Lawson, Mr. Lawson. I don't think he's dead.
He's dead.
I think he's got too many loose ends, that guy. I think the look of him seeing Docky die is just too big of a loose end for them not to tie up.
Okay.
And
that
I
is
also
one
think,
thing, isn't
it? To add into that, the reason why is I don't think Devin will go. She will turn to the dark side, but something has to bring her back, or something has to make her question, why am I doing this, or was it right to do this eventually? Because I don't think Disney Star Wars wants somebody who fully, one of their new characters, to fully turn to the dark side like that.
Why not?
And also, why would they bring up that Mama Lawson is an Imperial?
Wait a second. Go back to what you just said before. Why
plays
wouldn't Disney? Why wouldn't they want her to slide to the dark side of the Force? What makes her so special? I mean, you have to have some characters who.
No. I think she will slide to the dark side of the Force. I just don't think she'll finish there. If you know what I mean.
You think she'll redeem herself
They already
somehow?
did that with Barris.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll maybe not fully redeem herself, but maybe become gray at the end.
Gray? There's no such thing. Now, there is no such thing. That doesn't work in Star Wars. It totally does not work in Star Wars. There is no gray.
Well, she'll be light
there
leaning,
is
then.
no gray. That's fanfic. Gray Jedi is fanfic. Again, you got the gray Jedi having saber duels in the forest. That's fanfic. There is no gray Jedi. Either you're dark side or light side, and you can't bounce back.
She will
and
be
forth.
light side. There we go.
So I like the idea better.
And she'll have to be redeemed in a way
that our caller had earlier, the Mando Pirate, where he said she was going to be the Mia Goth character in. I'm sorry, Mia Goth, not Goth. Mia Goth in Star Wars Starfighter, right? And I like that. I like building off of the character's introduction here in Maul and then having it pay off in a show like Starfighter. I think that's pretty cool. But the problem with it is if that is indeed Devin in Starfighter and that character gets killed off in that movie before we even see season 2 of Maul's Shadow Lord, I think that's gonna disrupt the flow of things. Because remember, there are going to be 3 seasons. There are going to be 3 seasons of this show. That's what they're aiming for. 3. I know they announced season 2, but there's going to be a season 3 also. So I think, with that in mind, it'll probably take us another 5 years before we see this story get wrapped up with the sluggish way in which they roll out these stories.
Yeah, I don't
It'll
think
probably
we're
be-
going to see season 2 for another 2 years.
I agree. I think it'll take 2 years for season 2 and another 2 years for season 3. So 4 or 5 years from now, we'll finally see the conclusion of this story. And I think that if you have Mia Goth play the role of Devin as an adult in Starfighter, I think that'll disrupt that flow. I think she really needs to be her own character here. And not see, I just talked myself out of being enthusiastic about the idea that
Now
Mando
you don't
Pirate
like the
introduced.
idea.
And now I've just talked myself out of it because, yes, it'll disrupt the flow of Maul Shadow Lord.
All right. Well, Cody, thanks for the idea. Here's someone else that thinks that Mia Goth is going to be Devin, and it is Marty from Georgia. Hey, Marty. Mac's all over on both sides of this issue. He doesn't know how he feels about it.
No,
Is
I'm
it a
at
good thing?
I'm at the other side. I don't think it's a good thing.
All right, he doesn't think it's a good thing now. What say you?
So, I didn't even when I first saw the episode yesterday, it didn't even hit me that Lawson witnessed Maul push Daki into Vader. It wasn't until my cousin texted me and said, "Hey, did you notice this?" I'm like, "No." So I saw the scene myself today, and it makes sense. I'm of the opinion that Brander is still alive because in Star Wars, whether it was Disney, even before Disney, if you don't see the body, they're not dead. You know, you see Lawson fade off into the fog and go off, and that's it. You assume he's dead. And I thought it was a great sacrifice. I think he's going to survive. Somehow Devin is going to learn about it, the betrayal. And I think that Devin is going to be the one that rips apart Maul's organization from the inside out. I don't think it's going to be the Empire. I think it's going to be an internal self-destruction. And that's where we find Maul and Malachor because he has to run into hiding because Devin turned everyone against him. So that's just my theory. And I do like the idea that she is going to be Mia Goth's character in Starfighter. And I also like the idea that you're introduced to her and everyone's like, oh, wait, we know who this is. And out of the darkness, somehow Spybot returns.
No.
So.
Bushki
right.
dumb.
Okay, Marty. This Brander Lawson thing, or excuse me, the whole thing about Brander witnessing this, he witnesses this little shove, and I agree, it's there. I mean, it's not even ambiguous. It's there. He sees it, but we laid out in this whole season has been piece by piece coming together that leads to the inevitable fall to the dark side of Devin. And yes, the Daki is the final, it's the last straw. But there were a lot of pieces to that story before Daki dies to where I have a hard time believing that it would be completely reversed given the news, depending on how far down the road or the path that she is. I think that there is a finite amount of time that she can learn this truth to where it would have the type of ramifications that you're suggesting. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think she's got to find out soon. It can't be a year or two down the road when she's already established a pretty good relationship with Maul.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that if she finds out, I don't think that's going to pull her back to the light. I think when she finds out, she's going to be so far down the dark side that she's like, okay, screw it. I'm just going to commit to this life. Like, I predict Maul's going to be manipulating her in some other ways in season 2 and if there's a season 3, and that she's going to find out about Daki, and that's going to be the last straw, and she betrays Maul. I don't think she's going to come back to the light. I think that she is.
Oh, I see. So
pretty much full steam ahead going down that path. So
now that would be interesting. Well, that would be interesting. Rule of 2 stuff. Always 2 there are. One to hold power and one to crave it. And if she uses that information years later or however it is to betray Maul and justify his betrayal and then leave. What's that planet that they find him on in Rebels? Malachor. Maybe she's the one that strands him on Malachor. Could be. But
so I don't think we're looking at Devin coming back to the light. I think she's pretty much set on this path. So if she finds out about Docky, I don't think that's going to bring her back. I think, in fact, that would probably push her deeper into the darkness.
I like that. I like that she could she could find the truth. It could cause her to betray Maul, but not cause her to go back to the light. I like that. I think that's probably the most plausible way it could happen. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the call. We've got lots of super chats here. Joe says, can't wait to see you guys in Cleveland. Appreciate it. We got Todd. Todd said LASIK, long time. From start to finish, this show was a spectacularly entertaining and visually stunning show. Can't wait to see you guys in Cleveland in a couple of weeks. Love you guys. Oh, Suds. Appreciate it, Suds. Who else we got here? More Suds. Our good friend Chris Mocht is one of those Star Wars fans that eschews the animated stuff. Lord knows I've tried to convince him. Oh, really? Chris is, I don't like the animated. I like the cartoons. I'm too good for that. WTPO says, great show, gents. Prediction for Riley. He'll hang around and be the moral anchor for Devin, stun bolts and all, helping her to turn back to the light. That will resolve her story without killing her. Jimmy says, no, he doesn't like that.
I think she's firmly dark side. I don't see that there's anything that's going to bring her back. Once you go down the dark path forever, does it hold your destiny? Yoda.
Here we go. Chut. Quick stop in on break to say awesome season, phenomenal end. Two Boots was too bot. So I was close. Lawson lives. Vader rules. High ground. Appreciate it. I think it's
Two Boots was two bot. So I was close.
Two Boots
what does
was
that mean?
two bot. Two BOT. So I was close. I don't know. We might need some clarification.
What is he trying to say there?
I don't know. Adam says, if Devin fully becomes Maul's apprentice, do you guys think she will get red and black Knight Brother style tattoos and look more like her original design?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think she will, actually, because I think those tattoos are going to be retconned to be a tribute to her master, Maul. Guillermo says, Jason and Jimmy, thanks for the after shows. Giordano's was all right. High ground.
That's Chicago deep dish pizza he had. He ordered it, though. I mean, when you get it shipped, it's frozen. It's never going to be as good as it is when you have it right from the pizzeria. So, but try Malnati's next time.
Louis Tully says Maul and Vader didn't recognize each other? ?
No, Vader recognized Maul.
Yeah,
he knows
absolutely.
exactly who Maul is.
Yes.
But Maul, no. And I like that. I like maintaining the mystery of Darth Vader. I don't like it when Star Wars tries to treat Darth Vader like he's some sort of media celebrity in Galaxy and right. he appears at like banquets and things like that. I hate when they do things like that. I like Darth Vader to be kept strictly in the shadows. And the usual general public doesn't have any idea who Darth Vader is. And the Imperials themselves are a little unclear on who Vader is as well.
Dude, I'm with you. I remember when George Clooney was in the Batman movie and he's showing up at galas and like doing ribbon cuttings. It was like the old Adam West show. No, Batman needs to stay in the shadows. I don't want to see him in the society. And that's one of my hangups with like some of the comic books. It's like Vader's at like imperial functions and stuff like that. I don't want to see him having a social life. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would he prioritize selfish politicians and diplomats like that? He never would spend a second in that environment.
No,
they live in Vader's world. He doesn't live in their world. That's not how these things work.
Right. Exactly. Here's Matt Brewer. He says, love these after shows. Thanks for all you do, Jason and Jimmy. Excited for Cleveland. Yes, so are we. If you're wondering what all this Cleveland talk is, we are talking about the Rebel Force Radio Mandalorian and Grogu after show. We can't assume everybody listening and watching right now knows about this. So, yes, we do these after shows after all new Star Wars comes out, whether it be Disney Plus or theatrically. And we're going to do one for the Mandalorian and Grogu film Saturday, May 23rd in Cleveland, Ohio. You can get all the details. Tickets are on sale now. You can get those details at rebelforceradio.com. So if you're going to be in the Cleveland area or towards the end of this month, May 23rd, we'd love to have you. And you can see all this happen live right in front of your eyes. Barf shout out. This is from Scott, St. Louis. Barf shout out to Leo Field of Rockland, Mass, listening to RFR in Nepal while serving in the Peace Corps.
Awesome.
RFR number 1 in Kathmandu. On to Cleveland. Thanks, Scott. And thank you very much to Leo in the Peace Corps. That's very cool. Very cool stuff. Here's Dominique Grant says, so is Dryden Voss already a badass fighter, or are we going to see Maul train him? Was Voss a fighter? Is that
it was consistency here. Dryden Voss, just as boring a villain in this show as he was in the Solo film.
Yes.
God, is this guy a
Amen.
sap? They showed him kill someone, but how does Voss die? Oh, Kira kills Voss.
Yeah, Kira kills Voss. She stabs him with that knife, doesn't she?
Yeah, and Kira is about 5'2" and weighs 90 pounds soaking wet. So yeah, some badass fighter. He gets taken out by Kira. Yeah, I don't know.
I gotta rewatch the end of Solo. That's something I gotta do because I completely, other than Maul's show, I forget what Maul says. But so we were wondering what the connection and how this was going to go down. So just to summarize, from what I understand is Dryden Voss is the underboss of the what's the empire there?
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn. So he wants to hire Maul essentially to bump off the boss so that Dryden can become the boss of bosses, and that he will give Maul sanctuary and also give him a position within the organization. Years later, we've got Kira, who is an underboss, and Maul orchestrates her to kill Dryden, which then puts Maul as the head boss. Or does he promote Kira? I can't remember. That's the thing. I can't remember with how the end of that goes. Because Maul can't step out.
Kira, I believe.
Yeah, because Maul does have to be in the shadows. He can't go out and be like, hey, he can't be out like John Gotti, running around, driving around, and brandishing his position out there. Yeah, because he's got to keep a very low profile.
So at the end of the day, I believe it's Maul, obviously, who is running the Crimson Dawn, and he has Dryden Voss, who is like the face of the organization.
That's right.
And what a face it is. In the descriptive audio track, they described Voss as a human male with striations running down his face. Striations. Typically, that term is used when you're like describing a rock face or a cliff,
Yeah.
It's got striations running down it. But this guy's got striations running down his face. And they like get brighter when he kills somebody. And he like gets off on it too. Remember in Solo, like they cut away to him and he just killed like some servant who did him wrong or something. And he's just like, oh yeah. Oh, that was so good. Oh. And his little striations are all lit up. Like it's like what a weird character he is.
Oh, Kira tells Maul, this is Connor here in the chat. He says, Kira tells Maul that Beckett killed Voss and took off. So she frames Beckett.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to go back and rewatch that. Thanks, Connor. That's not the way I remember it, but I have no reason to Yeah.
You rewatch it so I don't have to, okay?
You got it, buddy. I'm happy
Fair
to do
enough.
it. I'm happy. I'll break the cellophane on that 4K disc finally. Joe says, brother.
All right, fine.
Giving
I
you
didn't
$2.
know we were
Might as well
taking
do it.
requests. I didn't know we were taking requests, but
This
that
is
you,
a
brother?
dedication.
Whoa. I'm hearing a bunch of things in my head here.
Well,
Brother.
I was
keep
just going to
talking
tee
over
it
my
up by
brother.
saying, I was going to say this is a long distance dedication from Joe 3962.
Is that you, Joe? Brother? All right. Yeah, we'll retire that one until the next Maul after show in 2 years.
Jeff Holland, good friend of the show here, says, great show. Do you think it has crossed Iger's mind seeing all this praise from fans and critics of the Maul show to say, maybe I should have used George's story treatments for 7, 8, and 9? RFR number 1, see you in Cleveland. I'll bet Bob Iger doesn't even know that there's a Darth Maul TV show on Disney Plus. I mean, I would be great, Jeff. I don't want to like poo-poo your theory, but now are there people around Lucasfilm that were there and aware that went down? Dave Filoni certainly had a front row seat to it all. Yeah, maybe there's people saying, geez, there might have been actually some something to this story treatment of George's.
I don't think George had anything beyond an episode 7 story treatment. I don't think he had a fully fleshed out trilogy. We all know that's not how George Lucas works. And who's to say that Darth Maul was even in whatever those treatments were? If they were even treatments at all. Who's to say Darth Maul was even in there? Remember, George just
we know
mentioned
Darth Maul was in
an
there.
interview.
We have confirmation that Darth Maul was in there.
Well, not necessarily in the story treatment. George just mentioned that Maul would be part of his sequel trilogy if he ever got to make it. But you know how George's brain works, and especially when talking about things in retrospect, he changes the story around all the time. And he might have been had a story where Darth Maul featured in it, but it might not have necessarily been obvious in the story treatment itself. So it could just all be up in George's head, and he can say anything he wants.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, what we
know
know about the story treatments is what George has told us about the story treatments. So,
right. He can make up anything. He could say, those aliens in Spielberg's Close Encounters. Well, I was going to bring those guys back, and they were going to be the midichlorians. And I was going to have E.T. in there. Remember, I had E.T. and the Phantom Menace. I'm making the sequels just to piss off Spielberg, really.
There's going to be a shark. Although he did have a shark in Clone Wars. Remember the Shark Man?
Steven was so pissed off about that. I can't even tell you.
All right, here's Tanya. She says, thanks for breaking down all the Maul episodes, Jason and Jimmy. The saber fights were awesome. See you all in Cleveland. May the force be with you. RFR number 1. Thanks, Tanya. Finally, we got Mini V826 says, remember, it's like poetry. It rhymes. Yeah. There's been
it rhymes.
Plenty of that. All right. Back to the phones here. Let's take a couple more calls and then we'll wrap things up. We got another Patreon member. We got Brian from New York. Brian, thanks for waiting.
Bry guy.
Hey, thanks. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I was wondering during the duel between Vader and Maul, we know that when Vader came into being, Anakin Skywalker died. But to what degree do you guys think that Maul killing Qui-Gon motivated Vader during that duel? How much do you think that was a factor in his actions as they were fighting? Was there any remembrance of what occurred, or had he completely erased that from his mind and from history as far as he was concerned?
That's a good question. I don't think Vader spends much time sitting around thinking about Qui-Gon Jinn. As a matter of fact, I've always looked at Vader's commitment to the dark side was was there because it protected him from his past. When he becomes Darth Vader and fully commits to the dark side of the Force, he's always moving forward. He's not looking back and thinking about the life he once had. I think that's his defense mechanism. That's the only way he can handle living with the fact that he is mostly responsible for the death of Padme. And not only the loss of her, but of his children, at least per Vader's perspective. So he can't spend time dwelling on that because that makes him miserably depressed. And he has to move forward. So he embraces the dark side of the Force and completely commits to it. So much so that the guy who knew him best, Obi-Wan Kenobi, said he became more machine than man, twisted and evil. And any evidence of Anakin Skywalker had gone away. And so Vader had to really work hard to put himself in that mindset. I think that he is so disciplined by this point in time. It's hard to tell, though, because that Kenobi series really throws a wrench into the works when it comes to this theory I have, or this analysis, because by that point in time, Vader is kind of obsessed with hunting down Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it takes the experience of going through all of that for him to finally get into a place where the Emperor can say to him, hey, listen, I need you focused on our dark side stuff. So you got to let go of this Kenobi vengeance business. And Vader agrees. And then I think that's when Darth really becomes committed. But prior to that, I don't think he really gave it too much thought. This is something that did happen in his childhood. He didn't witness it happening. I think there were a lot of things going on there he didn't understand. I think, you know what, listener, I think that it would be great if we could get into an adult Anakin Skywalker's head as far as his feelings about Qui-Gon Jinn and what that relationship meant to him. As far as I know, that's never been covered in any of the books or novels or comic books, or definitely not in live action or animation. I think that would be really a compelling thing to just hear Anakin discuss Qui-Gon a little bit and what Qui-Gon meant to him. Or is it just something like it's a kid thing? You know, he was only like 9 years old at the time. I mean, how many things do you hold on to tightly from when you were 9 years old? Granted, Anakin Skywalker is in a very unique position, and maybe some things stick out more than others. And the death of Qui-Gon would be something I think that would qualify there, but it's a compelling thing you bring up. I think it would be interesting if Kenobi just looked, or I'm sorry, Maul just looked at Vader and said something like, hey, let's go get Kenobi. Why are we fighting? You know, kind of similar to the way he drafted Devin to the cause. He can maybe even sway Vader. Hey, stop beating me up. We should be hunting. Why are we fighting? Why are we doing this? We should be pulling our energy together to find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we could rip him apart together. Wouldn't that be great? But it appears at this point in time, Vader's not committed to that, and it's not really explained why Maul has let go of that. Why did Maul let go of the idea of hunting down Obi-Wan Kenobi? They never explore that in this show. Remember, he was really hell-bent on hunting down Kenobi in Clone Wars. And it just doesn't really get followed up on much after that, does it?
No. All right, Brian, thanks very much. One last call. We got our good pal, longtime listener and friend of the show, Eric from Phoenix. A lot of you know him through the Q&A over on RFR on Patreon. Eric, last call of the night, man. No pressure.
Hey, guys. My first comment would just be, wow. What a series. I'm surprised how much I liked it. And I think Lucasfilm should get all the praise in the world for the excellent writing, the story, and the character development. And specifically, I was concerned about the character of Devin coming into the series, and she turned out to be one of my favorite characters in the series. She was so well written, great character development. And I think this show proves that Lucasfilm can do Star Wars right. Let's give them kudos for when they do it well. They did it very well with the series. And I think it set the bar for what we should expect as fans in future series. Not necessarily the cookie cutter to the Maul series, but that it should be a well-developed script, good story with great character development, and fun with lots of action. And I think we got that with the series. And I have two, what I would say, positive observations and two minor nitpicks. My first positive observation, thing that I really liked what they did with the series, is the blocking of the scenes with Devin and Maul. And it's not 100% of their scenes, but most of their scenes where they're together on screen, one of them has their back turned to the other one. They're either walking someplace, they're walking side by side. One of them's in front of the other one. You know, she was in the cell. Her back was turned to Maul. He was outside the cell. And so what that does is when they deliver their dialogue, we get the dialogue, but they always cut to their facial reactions. But the other person can't see their facial reactions. Only the audience can. And so, like, we'll cut to Maul delivering a line, and we can see in his face that he's being manipulative. And then we'll see Devin receive that dialogue in her face. You can see her eyes, her facial reaction, questioning it, or she's struggling with what Maul's saying. She knows it's not right, but she's struggling with the situation. I just thought the way they blocked their scenes was awesome. And I don't know that I've ever noticed that before in any other series with Star Wars. I just thought it was an excellent way to do this and really develop her as a character and Maul as a manipulator trying to get, in the end, what he wants out of what comes out of the season. So that was positive observation number one. Positive observation number two is the way they handled Vader. Basically, he was Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. I mean, the guy never walked fast. I mean, he was a slow walk. You know, he toyed with them for a lot of the fight. He used one hand for most of the fight. Not only did he walk slow, he never said a single word, and we get the jump scare where he puts his hand through the wall to grab at him. I mean, if that's not Jason Voorhees,
it was a little slasher. What I liked was that it was a relentless pursuit, and it was Vader. His strategy with them was wearing them out. He didn't have to work very hard, but he knew that if he just kept coming at him, the old guy was going to finally give up. And Maul, he knew he could take once it was mano a mano, and then the kid would have been no problem at all. So I think Vader's strategy there was just to wear them down.
Yeah, and he kind of reminded me also, if you think of the Terminator at the end of the first Terminator movie, where it's just a robot.
Yeah, I like Terminator better than I do Jason Voorhees. I think Terminator is a really good analogy. Yeah, very much so.
So those are, I think they handled it very well. They should, excellent. Two minor nitpicks. Jim hit this already a little bit, but, they used the rocks at least once in Obi-Wan, maybe twice. I think they used it in Rebels when they're in that temple and the rocks come down and Ahsoka gets away. I swear in Shadows of the Empire, I could be misremembering. I think there's like the building collapses on Vader. I think so. I mean, I don't know how you slow him down other than stuff like that, because it's a fine line. You can't have Vader get, punked. He's got to be powerful, and they handled it really well. But the building coming down on him twice, I don't know. It was okay, but I would have liked to have seen some other plot point used.
Yeah, it wasn't original. They didn't give any originality points there for sure.
Remember, we first saw that in Star Wars back in 2002, Attack of the Clones, when Dooku brought down the ceiling on Yoda. So, I mean, it does have its foundation in Star Wars and George Lucas for that matter, but how many times do we need to see it? That's what I'm beginning to wonder. They need to come up with something a little more clever. But that's a very minor nitpick. All in all, the story ran really, really well. Can I share a nitpick with you guys? This might be selfish or impatient, but for years we've been waiting for the showdown between Maul and Vader. And we finally get it presented in this animated show. And anytime Maul and Vader were one-on-one, mano versus mano, they would immediately cut away to other action. Riley and Brander trying to get to the shuttle.
I didn't notice that.
Devin and or not Devin, the other guys dueling with the Inquisitor. Yeah, Devin dueling with the Inquisitor and Daki dueling with the Inquisitor. They never showed Maul and Vader really in the action.
They lock up, and you're right. And then they cut away.
Instantly cutting away to other actions. Like, come on, we've been waiting for this Maul Vader duel forever. But obviously, there's going to be a round 2. There must be a round 2. And it will be specifically Vader versus Maul and no other contestants except maybe Devin at the beginning. But we have to see Vader versus Maul have a serious saber duel showdown, one that tells a story. This was always happening in the background. They're saving the best for last. And the ultimate Maul Vader showdown is still yet to happen.
How can it be an ultimate showdown if neither one of them can be victorious?
I mean, like on entertainment level value. I mean, somebody will win, and it will be Vader. And Maul will end up getting exiled to Malachor. How? Why? Who knows? Maybe Vader puts him there. I know a place I could put you where you're not going to cause any problem. Yeah.
All right. I think, Eric, by my count, you still have one more nitpick.
Yeah. One minor nitpick. So we just got done, and we're going to see here in a couple weeks. By the way, can't wait to see you guys and everybody else in Cleveland. Going to be epic. We've been watching The Mandalorian. His Mandalorian armor, guess what? It deflects blaster bolts. These Mandalorians in this series must have bought their armor from Temu because they get shot one time and they're dead. And then literally the next scene, the Zabrak guy gets shot 17 times, but he's able to throw 3 knives at 3 stormtroopers' heads, runs, jumps in there, tackles them into the acid, and they all die. It took me out of it a little bit. Now, I don't remember anymore how it worked in Clone Wars, but I'm like, it just seems to me. Now, maybe they hit between the armor. I didn't rewatch the episode. Once again, it's a minor nitpick, but I just, Jim's noticed they didn't have jetpacks, which, obviously hurt them.
Yeah.
But the armor, I mean, come on. You should have been able to get hit a couple times with some blaster bolts.
Yeah, but they were such throwaway. They were such,
once again, minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were such throwaway characters. Who really cares? I mean, they were going to get blasted and killed anyway. They were.
Respect the lore, man. Respect the armor. Respect the power of the blade.
Well, maybe they were cosplayers. They were actually cosplaying. You've heard of the Mando Mercs? These guys were the Mando Jerks.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Great call. Great calls and chats from everybody, as always, here on Rebel Force Radio and our final Maul Shadow Lord after show for season 1. I think in this one of these episodes, it might be Daki. Somebody calls him the Shadow Lord at one point. I think it's the first time they drop him, name drop him that way.
Daki. It was Daki.
Okay. So, these things are always a lot of fun, and they wouldn't be as much fun without all of you in the chat and calling us up, and it certainly wouldn't be as much fun without this guy, Tyler Page, our trusty call screener and the official program observer here at Rebel Force Radio. We appreciate it, Tyler. Some great calls. Anything we missed? I know you were lamenting that you only got one view in of these episodes, but still, enough action, enough excitement for you to have some observations, eh?
Yeah, I got at least one good one and maybe one clarification. I guess Maul does train Dryden Voss and Terrace Kasi, according to Wikipedia, however seriously you take that. So maybe it's some reference material somewhere, but it's there.
Okay.
I think my own theory as why Lawson saw Daki get killed is just so that we see him get killed. We see Maul push him, because I think we just need to see that happens, and maybe later in the future, Devin can sense that through the Force that Maul does that, and maybe he even confesses to her that he tried to, end his life, and it just plunges her further into darkness.
Ooh. I should have been
want-
there for him. I could have helped. No,
I just want
you
Austin-
didn't kill Master Daki. I did.
A couple callers called in late. Try and be a little bit earlier next time, but if you got thoughts about Maul, call into the voicemail 708-320-1737.
Thank you, buddy. Oh, Tyler, he's so good at this. He's so good at this.
Every day.
And you're going to be able to see him do all of this live on May 23rd at Playhouse Square, Cleveland, Ohio, and the Mandalorian and Grogu after show. So if you haven't had major plans yet, make your plans now. Tyler, it's always a great pleasure. Thanks, buddy. And we'll see you in Cleveland. And we don't have to wait for Ahsoka season 2. We might do another after show here or there, do another live show with some calls.
Sounds
Hey,
good.
Tyler.
Yeah.
As long as we have Tyler here, tell everyone what you have planned for the after show after party in Cleveland.
Okay. All right. Well, this is picking up steam. I'm bringing a Beyblade arena to the Stube. So if anyone wants, there's new Star Wars Beyblades out there. If you want to bring yours, we're gonna have some sort of tournament and just have a good old time in the Stube of Opera House.
So at the Stube, Tyler's bringing the Star Wars Beyblade arena, and they're going to have. You know what that is, don't you, Jason? The
I
tops. It's a game where it's basically you spin tops in this little arena, and they whoever is the last top standing Beyblade is the winner. So Tyler is going to be hosting a Beyblade tournament, and we have a request here from Dale's Toys. Tyler, show the new tattoo.
It's not Star Wars, so I'll show that to you privately.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
that's
Well,
Star
what a
Wars.
tease. What a tease. You're not going to give Dale's Toys what the people want? Maybe Dale will send you some toys if you show off the
Where
tattoo.
is the tattoo, Tyler? I
Oh,
think we
good
need-
question.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there we go.
Well, what-
All right.
And what
Yeah, it's
is
a bad
it?
angle. I can't show it. It's a buffalo. But yeah.
It's a buffalo.
Oh,
nice.
Ooh, me
Nice.
hunt
Really
buffalo.
cool.
Mm.
Well, we look forward to hanging with you and playing some Star Wars Beyblades in
That'll be fun.
Cleveland. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun.
Can we bet on
So-
it? Is it like craps or something?
I think that's the idea. Bring some-
I think that's the idea.
Something
Yeah,
like
Swank.
I like that. I like that. Well, that's just some of the fun you're going to have if you hang out with us. It's a whole night. So we're doing the live show, and then we're going to do an after party at the Hofbräu House just a few steps away from the theater. So it's going to be a happening. We're going to go well into the night, and who knows? We can spill out even after that. We may not go to bed at all. Who knows? Although Jimmy Mack's going to go to the Rock Hall the next day, so he's going to have to get some shut-eye. Anyway, Tyler, thanks so much, buddy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Jimmy Mack, the end of Maul Season 1. Final thoughts on these 2 episodes and the whole season.
Holy smokes, the season 1 finale for Maul Shadow Lord was just an outstanding way to celebrate May the 4th be with you. Hey, I saw 25 minutes of The Mandalorian last night, and while that footage was spectacular, and I really can't wait for that movie to open so I can see the rest of the dang film, I have to say, pound for pound, the Maul Shadow Lord season finale was the more exciting of the 2 viewing experiences I had on May the 4th. No knock on the Mandalorian movie. That's great. It's just that the Maul Shadow Lord finale was that good. So we have a great month of Star Wars ahead of us with the Maul Shadow Lord. Now we can just go back and binge the whole series beginning to end, which is always a vastly different experience than catching it 2 episodes per week. So that'll be enjoyable, and that'll get us primed for the Mando and Grogu, which, according to the footage I've seen, it's going to be a really good time at the movie theaters. So we got that to look forward to, but now that we're basking in this season finale of this great animated series, and we finally get the reveal of Darth Vader, I have to say that the animation model for Vader is just pure perfection. Chef's kiss. He's bulky. He moves real deliberately. And we were talking about the way he moves around and sort of that Terminator vibe. But definitely light years better than the limp-wristed, skinny Vader from Star Wars Rebels, who lacked all the good qualities this animation model has. This is perfection. I felt like I was watching live-action Vader a lot of times. Felt like Dave Prowse himself was underneath that animated armor. It was so good. How about that moment when he crashed through the wall as Maul and Devin and Daki? Who was it? Was it just? It was all 3 of them. Yeah, they were all having kind of a quiet moment. There was a lull in the action, a moment of silence, then crash. Vader punches through the wall in that temple they were in. It was just beautifully executed. Perfect. I loved it. I really loved this series. And I'm walking away from season 1 believing Devin is firmly a Darksider. Brander Lawson is firmly dead. And Spybot is firmly Bushki dead. Puffa Pig, not in this episode.
All right. That's going to do it for us here for Maul Shadow Lord after shows until season 2, that is. But there's more Rebel Force Radio to be found at rebelforceradio.com. Also on Patreon. We got the live show coming up here in 18 days. And who knows what else might be happening. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan and a great time to be a listener of Rebel Force Radio. So thank you all so much. Appreciate it. What a great season. Thank you again to Tyler Page, Jimmy Mack, and everybody listening and tuning in and bringing so many great comments and thoughts and theories and all of that. It's just been a blast. Thank you all so much. We will see you later this week on the weekly Rebel Force Radio. So until then, for Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.
Ooh.